Hi everyone, my name is Amy Oberg, and I believe that there is a biblical theme of communion that is crucial to every human. Not the communion that you think of when you take sacraments, but fellowship. The Greek word for it is actually koinonia, which most Christians are familiar with. But I truly believe that the Creator longs for communion with us through fellowship, intimacy, and a void, or a God-shaped hole, that every human has. So first, let's start with the acknowledgement that every human has a choice to have a relationship with God. So whether you believe in God or not, you've chosen to have a religion or a faith or a relationship with God. Hence, if you don't believe, you've made your choice. So we all have the ability to accept or reject God. So communion comes in three parts: fellowship, intimacy, and a void. In the Old Testament, God created Adam and Eve perfect. They were walking and talking with God in the garden, and this is true fellowship. When they sinned, it created a void inside every human, including them. So even though Adam and Eve sinned, God continued to pursue fellowship with them and the rest of humanity. God had a regular relationship with the people in the Old Testament, like Noah, Abraham, Moses, and then God delivered the Israelites. So God's not a distant God. He had fellowship and real relationship with the people. Unfortunately, the problem is sin. So then we turn to the second part of communion, which is intimacy. Intimacy goes beyond just hanging out and fellowshipping in a relationship. Now it's personal. God knew that to have communion with His creation, with humans, He needed to show them how much He loves them. So He sent His only Son to die on the cross to cover all of sin. Jesus made it personal. He made it intimate. So if you look at the world around us today, you can see how empty the world is. We all have this aching abyss inside of us, longing for something. This is the void. Sin is the void, which is the third part of communion. And the only thing that can fill the void is Jesus. That emptiness is longing for walking and talking, fellowship, and intimacy with the Creator. You know, we try and fill it with someone else, or pleasure, or wealth, or family, or sex, drugs, and rock and roll. But in the end, there's still a void. See, we weren't created to be separate from God. We were created to be with Him, to be in communion with the Creator. And so the only remedy for the void is to be in communion with the Creator. So regarding your choice to have a relationship with God or not, you need to know that you're covered by something called common grace. See, no one can deny the mountains and the oceans and the animals and creation around us is beautiful. And God's responsible for creating all of it. So the world around us is proof of the Creator, which means that on the day of judgment, no one will be able to say, "Well, I didn't know." There's not going to be any excuses. So the void has been satisfied through Jesus, and you have an intimate invitation to fellowship in true communion with your Creator, not only right now, but for eternity.